not only was it like the allowance that I was sending her, but she's like, hey, can you help me get my car fixed? Can you pay for my cell phone bill? Can you do this? So in the course of 6 months, I dished out 12 grand.
I'm sorry, that reaction.
That was genuine.
Oh my goodness.
Welcome to Secrets of a Sugar Daddy. Here's your host, Marcus.
Welcome back to this week's episode of Secrets of a Sugar Daddy. I am Marcus, and today the guest host of the week is the lovely Angie.
Hello.
Hey Angie, how are you?
I'm really good.
It's been a while. It's been a few episodes since we've chatted last.
Mm-hmm. It has been.
I know there's some things that I really want to talk to you about, but you said you were going to change your profile.
I did.
And I've seen it.
Oh, you have?
And I am so curious on the feedback and the responses you're getting. But you know what? We're going to have to tease that. Maybe we'll get into it later or we'll have another show. But today, I have my first in-studio sugar daddy. Welcome, Joseph.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Thanks for coming in. You went to our website and you sent me some messages and said that you were very interested in the show and you'd listened to... Have you listened to every episode?
I have. I binged listened to every
You binge listened.
I binge listened.
Kind of like
episode.
Netflix for podcasting.
Yes. Yep. Yeah.
And what are your thoughts? Well, I guess first of all, let me get to how you became a quote unquote sugar daddy. I know I say that a lot because I really don't like the name sugar daddy, to be honest with you. I'm a sugar daddy.
Try benefactor.
Benefactor?
Benefactor's good.
Benefactor.
But we did name the show Secrets of a Sugar Daddy, so we're going to have to go with that one.
That's
So
fair.
give me a little bit about your background and where you came from and how you got here.
Okay. Well, I am about as blue collar boy as you can get. So for me, it was very interesting when this whole concept really came about because it was something very new and very foreign to me. Mm-hmm. But to kind of rewind before that just kind of sets everything up a bit. To get to how I even got onto the site and got into it, I used to travel for a living. So pre-COVID, every Sunday I would be on a plane going somewhere in the country for my job.
Okay.
And it actually, that kind of lifestyle is very lonely over time.
Yes.
And I did this for about 6 years. Somewhere around year 3, like it was extremely lonely. I was like in a hotel in Los Angeles and really suffering from this bout of like depression. I was so lonely.
And I'm assuming you're single at this point?
Nope. Married.
Oh,
Married.
you know what they
this
say
point.
about assumptions.
Yep. So married. And in case you guys don't know, your phone, your TV, your iPad, that all listens to every conversation you have.
Oh, I know. I've got
So-
experiences.
So, and that's not trying to be like this idea of conspiracy theory type thing. No, it's a fact. Coming from the IT world and the cell phone industry, they listen to everything.
Well, you talk
record.
about some product and amazingly it shows up
It
in your
shows
Facebook
up.
feed within minutes.
Which-
It's unbelievable.
which is exactly how I found the site. So
Really? Okay.
Yes. So I'm sitting in a restaurant in Los Angeles fighting this bout of depression type of thing. Like I'm extremely lonely. So somewhere down the line, I had said I am lonely enough times that as I'm sitting there eating, I'm pull up my phone. I'm like, I'm just going to go to YouTube and, just scroll cat videos or something. I don't know. Right.
Man after my own heart, actually. I do that myself.
So
Angie, keep it together.
I open up YouTube and right at the bottom of YouTube is a pop-up ad for Seeking.
Really?
Yeah. And I'm like, I don't know what this is, but I got background in IT. Like I know not to press the button, right? So
It will follow you everywhere.
it follows you everywhere. So what do I do instead? I go to Google and I do a little bit of research on what this was because I was like so lonely. Like, okay, this is worth me taking a minute to look into. I go to Google, I do my research. I'm like, this is actually a pretty cool idea. I jumped on the site. I signed
Now, how
up
many
for it.
years ago was this?
This was about 5 years ago.
Oh, wow. About the same time I did, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I jumped on the site, signed up for it, and it originally started as like, hey, just come have dinner with me. That's all that I want. Just come have dinner. I need somebody to talk to really bad. $50, $100, whatever it was. Like,
Yeah.
they would just come have dinner. They'd meet me at the restaurant and then go on their way.
Just
That was
somebody
it.
to talk to.
Just someone to talk to.
Right. I
That
get
was
it.
So adorable.
I know, right? No. So then fast forward, after about a year of this, I was actually up in Reno and I did the same thing. And it was like, hey, just come have dinner with me and we can meet. It's like, well, I don't get off work till 10. Everything's going to be closed by then. And I said, okay, well, my hotel has a restaurant in it. Why don't we just meet there? So she said, okay. And she came over to the hotel and we had dinner at the restaurant and we ended up talking like 4 hours. We actually shut down the restaurant in the hotel, shut down the bar in the hotel, and we still had like half a bottle of wine left. I'm like, okay, well, I have to go to the bathroom really bad.
Yeah. Right.
And I'm one of those people, like I have this weird thing about public restrooms. Like it's really just a weird thing about me. So I'm like, I got to go up to my room, go to use the restroom. And she's like, okay, well, I have to use the restroom too. Can I come with you? I'm like, sure, whatever. So we go up and we sit there and we finish off the bottle of wine and we're talking. And she gets up, she goes to the restroom again. And then she comes out and she just flat out kisses me. And I'm like, wait, what? Like I was not expecting this. This is not
Wait,
what I had
most
in
guys would be expecting this, but you were not.
I was not at the time.
Okay.
Like this whole
I mean, you've got
concept,
her in your hotel room.
right? Like this is how innocent I was. Like I'm like, I am not expecting any of this because of my whole religious background that I had. Like I was not
Okay.
expecting any of this. And I think that was like for her, like this whole big comfort thing, because we're still friends. We still talk every once in a while. But it was a huge
Yeah, that
relief.
set her at ease. And so
Really?
she felt a lot more comfortable around you because you probably discussed that up front, didn't you? That, hey, I just need somebody to talk
Just
to.
want someone
somebody
to talk
dinner.
to. That was it.
Yeah.
Was not expecting
You know,
anything
that
else.
might actually be a,
I was getting ready to say, sugar daddies, listen up.
you know,
because
that might be a
I mean, there's several really good tactics in this story.
Right?
innocent as they are.
She comes out, she kisses me, and then, the night progresses from there. And the next morning, I'm like, there's more to this site than I've thought about. Like, I did not.
Oh,
like,
yes.
2 + 2 did not equal 4 at the time.
Wow, you were very naive.
Very naive at the moment. So from there, at that point, it just kind of progressed from there. And yeah, it was a good time.
Okay, but you're married at the time.
Married at the time,
And are you still married?
still married.
Oh. And does she know of any of these activities?
To an extent.
Okay.
To an extent, we do have a open relationship in the sense of she knows there's the activities, but don't ask, don't tell.
Yeah.
So
Is there you think there's any activities on her end?
there is a little bit, but nothing
Okay.
major.
I'm so curious now because I was in a 16-year marriage and this would have never flown. I could have never gotten away with this. How long have you been married?
20 years.
20 years.
Yep.
And children? You have.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Obviously, when you're with somebody that long, it's very difficult to keep the spark alive, and
Very.
you're there more for the children at this point.
Very much so.
Yeah, I saw it in my parents.
Yep.
I mean, how did you feel after this? Was there this extreme sense of guilt, or was
Huge.
there? Yeah,
Huge guilt. Oh my God. Well, okay. So now we got to take that. We got that story out of the way. Let's back up to a different story.
Okay.
Is that very religious family, very religious background, worked at the church for a while.
yeah.
This is actually where
we worked at the same
we
church.
actually,
Oh, you did really?
Yeah.
yeah, we actually worked at the same church.
But we didn't know until
Yeah, you came along after I had left. So, but in talking, we found out it was the same church. We know the
That's so-
same
in the same
people.
department.
In the same department, we know the same people.
Small world.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. There was this huge sense of guilt at first because of how I was brought up. I'm like, this is not right. Like, I what did I do? What did I do? But then I realized over time that because the way my relationship worked with my wife was she was never really into the physical part of things. And so that was very difficult for her to begin with. Then after kids came along, it got even more difficult.
Right.
Because as a mother, like kids are always going to be your priority, no matter what. No matter how much you say my husband is a priority, the kids are always going to be a priority.
Always. And they're
Always.
exhausting.
And they are literally, my God, my kids are exhausting.
Just from the stories, Angie, you have told me from your kids, and they seem like fairly good kids compared to, the family I grew up in.
Oh, my kids are brilliant.
Yeah.
They're so easy, but still exhausting.
Right.
Yeah. So that whole physical part came down, and we actually had to sit down and have a conversation and like, look, I love you. I want to be with you, but this is lacking. This physical aspect of our relationship is lacking. There's nothing here. And if that doesn't happen or change, guys,
We don't work.
We don't work.
Right.
Guys, we're going to find it somewhere.
Right.
Right? We're going to get it somewhere.
Yeah, and I've talked about this in a past episode. This never even occurred to me or crossed my mind to do something similar to my lifestyle now. But if I would have found it during my marriage and discussed it with my ex-wife, honestly, we'd probably still be married.
Right.
And she was very upset when we got divorced. She did not want the divorce. But physically, there was just nothing there. And then that led to emotionally, there was nothing there.
Yep.
And we didn't have kids, so it was a little easier for me to separate. So I'm wondering, wow, if this was around, or if I had thought, it was certainly around, but if I had discussed it with her and we'd had better communication, it might have actually made our marriage a lot stronger.
Yeah. And we've talked about
Yeah.
that a little bit before on past episodes that, it's almost like therapy.
Yeah.
In a strange way, like these men go home and they feel release and they feel admired and they feel taken care of and nurtured in a sexual way. So then they're able to give so much more freely emotionally to
Very,
their
very much so.
family.
Absolutely. I can guarantee every time I go home afterwards, I am such a much better husband, a better father, a better business owner, because it's just way easier. It's more relaxed. I'm more relaxed. I'm more calm. A lot of that frustration's
Now,
out.
it's difficult because I also grew up in a very religious family and, taught that I had better never had extramarital affairs during
Right.
marriage. It's a huge sin, right?
Right.
And so I would feel really guilty doing that. How do you balance that side with what you're doing now? Because I'm sure you're still very spiritual.
Very.
And Angie is, and I am too. I mean, definitely, I just lost my mother, and I know that she's in a better place waiting for me. So I know there is a place. Now, what we do here on earth, during marriage, I know it's talked about, in multiple scriptures and everything, marriage, but after interviewing so many people, I'm just finding more and more your side is making a happier marriage or a more fulfilling marriage than a monogamous marriage, which is very strange for the way that I was brought up.
So I'm going to interject because I've been having this conversation a lot with people lately. And I think what the issue is that we associate sexuality with morality, and they're not exclusive. When sexuality becomes immoral is if it's doing harm or if there isn't some type of honesty but sexuality in and of itself or having multiple sexual relationships is not immoral if it's not causing harm or hurt to the people around you, in my opinion. So we feel like it's this immoral thing, but really you're being open and honest with your wife and she's being open and honest with you and you have this communication. So to me, then it's no longer immoral because you're not causing intentional
hurt.
harm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
You got on the site about 5 years ago.
Yep.
And now, how has your experience been since? Who are you meeting? What kind of experiences are you having? I know you met Angie, right?
Yeah, met Angie,
know.
but we actually didn't meet through the
We
site.
didn't.
No.
No, we did not meet through the site.
Well, how did this whole subject come up?
So I actually met.
Awkward?
No.
No.
No, it'd be awkward for me to meet somebody not on the site and talk about this subject. But anyway, go ahead.
So I met Angie.
Do tell.
I actually had another girl I was seeing,
Okay.
and we were talking about different things that we wanted to do and different fantasies that we had and whatever. And I said, I've never had a threesome. I really wanted to have a threesome.
Okay.
And then she said, I think I know someone that would be down for that.
Right.
I'm always like the first pick.
Well, have you looked in the mirror, girl?
Aw, that was sweet. Thank you.
You're welcome. So
Suck up.
I know, right?
Just let me have it.
Yeah, right.
So she said, I think I know someone that would be down. Let me text her and see. And she texted Angie and she said, well, yeah, that definitely down. Can I see a picture of him? And so I gave the other girl a picture and she sent it over. And then I asked for a picture. And then I got a picture back and I'm looking at this picture. This is what's funny. I'm looking at this picture and I'm like, I know this woman from somewhere.
Oh,
I don't know where.
something looked very familiar
Yeah,
about her.
Like I know her. I had no idea where I knew her from yet. But I'm like, I know her. I cannot place her, but I know her from somewhere. A couple of weeks passed. We got together and we hooked up and played a couple times. And then we were sitting and talking one day, and that's when we found out that we both worked at the same church at
that's when
different
you made a
times.
connection.
Yeah, I'm like, because even though I stopped working there, I was still going, and so I'd seen her around. I'm like, that's where I know you from.
Yeah. Because I kind of took over your job.
You did. You actually took over my job.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable.
So funny.
So how was the threesome experience? I was in your boat too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'd never had one before until I got on the site and met a couple girls. And was it awkward?
No.
No?
We made it very fun
made it.
for him.
Oh, it was magical.
Oh, really?
Oh, magical.
That was so great.
So I found myself I had a threesome with two different couples, two different girls or sets of girls. And I found that I really wanted to be with one of them individually more than I wanted the threesome. It was just physically, and I did talk about this, they weren't the right height for me. So I was having a lot of issues and it just was.
Gotcha.
Every
yeah.
time I listen to that podcast, I just envision like you in the middle of these like long legs.
They had such long legs. Yeah. I mean, they were about the same height I was, but their legs were so long and it was just moving around. It just, things weren't working well. We finally made it work, but
Yeah.
it was awkward.
I think what made it so good was the fact that you two were very different.
Oh, yes.
Very different. The other young lady.
Almost speechless.
Really, I'm thinking back to it. I'm
I'll
like,
tell you
oh.
how I'll tell you.
You explain. Yeah, you explain.
sure?
It. Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so the girl, and I think we can both agree, she's like one of the most amazing humans.
Amazing.
Beautiful, sweet, so fantastic. She's all in love now. I'm very happy for her, a little bit sad too.
Very sad.
However, she's beautifully submissive and,
Okay.
and so thrilled to be submissive. Like it really
Yeah.
makes her happy. And I think you went into it thinking we were both going to kind of be submissive that way.
I did.
And I'm such a brat.
Very much so.
Yep. So it was like there was a bit of duality like between her and I, because she was being super submissive to you, but then I kind of like would be like, nope, and I would take control.
You actually slapped me.
Wow.
I did. You did something naughty.
I don't remember what I did. I just remember I got slapped in the face.
You know,
I'm sure you deserved it.
he actually turned a little
It was
shade
nice,
of
though.
cherry red here.
I can feel
You
it
can
on my
feel the
face.
heat
I can
go
feel
right
it.
up to your head.
A good smack always does the job.
Right. All right. So you had your first threesome, and that's kind of how you met Angie.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then now, are you still active on the site right now?
I knew that question was going to come up. I didn't know which one was going to ask, but I knew that question was going to come up. And no, not active on the site.
Okay.
But I've listened to enough of the podcast. I knew it was going to come up. So I actually got back on the site
Really?
to see what attracted me to different individuals.
Oh,
Because
you did a little podcast research.
did a little podcast research for
Appreciate
it. Yeah,
that.
Yeah. So
What is it, and has it changed?
No, it has not changed.
Okay.
And the things that attract me and the things I found on the website are like, the first thing I want to see is I really don't want to see a picture of you in your bikini or your lingerie or whatever it is. Like, I want to see you in just a regular outfit, just a sporty casual. Even if you're at the gym, like a gym selfie is fine too. Like, I just want to see a picture of you doing whatever you like to do, dressed normally. And then as I go through, because I read every single bio. If I click on the picture, I'm reading the bio.
Okay.
And I go through and I read the bio. And the things that I would look for on the bio are like, do you know your personality type? Because the girls that put their personality type in their bio,
Define personality type.
Well,
you
they
mean
do. They go through that test and they.
like sanguine,
yeah,
melancholy. You mean actually name one of like the 4?
one of the 4, or if they do like the what's the one with the numbers, the Enneagram thing,
Right.
right? I know my Enneagram number is like 8 or whatever it is.
Interesting.
That tells me, because of my history and the research that I've done on myself, I know how I need to communicate with you. I know how to talk to you. I know that you are going to be extremely analytical, or you are a very outgoing personality. So I know how I can relate to that person. So me being an extreme introvert, right? Okay, I know a person that wants to go out and party at the club all night long on a Friday night. That's not me. We're not going to get along. This is not going to work out well.
I don't get that from your vibe at all.
Really?
No. I'm just
I
kidding.
really
Obviously.
thought there was like a chance I was going to get you out on the dance floor and just
Yeah, there's none.
not
There's
Tear it
none.
up.
None. I have danced twice in my life. Once at my wedding and once at a dance in high school because it was a girl asked guy and I got asked. And
There
I
you
couldn't say
go.
no. That's
Yeah.
the only 2 dances I've ever done in my life.
No, I feel you. I grew up in a small Texas town, and us white boys, we just didn't dance much.
Nope.
No.
Nope.
Well, the ones that did the country dancing, they were getting all the girls, but I was a little awkward there too. So yeah.
So then that kind of brings me around to where I actually started the conversation is I'm a very blue collar guy, right? Grew up on a farm type of a deal, very blue collar, fix all of my own stuff, like rebuilt the engine in my truck. Like that's me. So then I'm looking at the profile. I'm like, as I'm reading through the profile, if what you're looking for is, the shoes, the Gucci bags, the whatever, that's not me.
Right.
Like I have a suit. I look good in a suit. I can stand up in a boardroom and do my presentation and whatever, but I'm jeans and a t-shirt and cowboy boots or sneakers or a polo, whatever. Like I am just laid back, relaxed. That's it. So I'm not going to be about going to the club partying. I'm not going to be about getting you the, $1,500 bag or whatever it is. Though I can, and I have, but that's not the first thing I'm looking at.
Right.
There has to be some type of a connection that we can relate to. Then we can go from there.
right.
And then after that, I got no problem spoiling you. I can spoil you all I want after that.
Oh, good.
Do you have some active people that you're seeing right now?
I do. Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Multiple?
Yep. Multiple. Yep.
Multiple. I like that. Different strokes, different folks.
Yep.
And how are you getting away from home life to do this?
So that's
You're in such a different situation than I am.
yeah. So that's the other thing that I look for on the profile. When we start talking, it's my schedule. Because I own my own businesses, I can do mornings and lunches, but I'm home by 2-3 o'clock and that's it. Like there's no evenings, there's no weekends. Like those are the times for my family, my kids. So when I look for the profiles, when we start talking, we're going, okay, let's do a coffee date. Let's do breakfast. Let's do brunch. Let's do lunch. Let's go hang out or do something beforehand when it's early morning. And I'm a morning person anyway.
Okay.
But the late night stuff, the evening stuff,
Yeah.
I can't do that.
And how do you get into this discussion when you're meeting somebody on the site? Because they're like a lot of profiles, they'll say no married men. I mean, they specifically put that because there is a lot of married men on there.
Oh, there's a lot
and
of
it limits the arrangement or the relationship that can grow. Because a lot of people are actually looking for love.
Yeah, there are actually quite a few on there.
Right.
If I look on the
You
profile,
just kind of weed those out.
I weed those out. So if I look on the profile and it says no married men, I don't message or anything.
And how quickly do you disclose all this information, or is it in your profile?
Some of it's in my profile, but it kind of depends on, we go out, we meet for coffee, we meet for lunch or whatever. I'll start disclosing some of that information. And then as the relationship starts to grow, more gets disclosed from there.
Okay.
So I kind of, last thing I want to do is like just take a shovel and just start heaping everything on that person, right?
Right.
And that's why, for me, importantly, if they have their personality trait on there, like I know how much I can shovel on all at one time before they get kind of freaked out or whatever.
I met you in such a different way.
Yeah.
So
our relationship is very different.
I love it when you meet people through people on the site, though, because I feel like there's already that kind of built up level of trust. Like, because, I trusted our friend so much. So when she introduced me to you, I automatically knew, he was kind of vetted in my eyes.
Yeah.
That's very true. Yeah.
So
You find a profile you like.
yeah.
Yep.
You message them. Do you direct them to a personal, do you have a texting number, app or anything?
I do. Yeah. I have
Okay.
a texting number. Yep.
Yeah. And do you I try to bring the conversations off the site as quickly as possible because I don't like messaging back and forth on the site. There's some people that prefer, no, I just want to message you here because I'm not always on there. Texting is actually easier for me. It's quicker.
For me, now this is a fun little point. For me, when I had an Android-based phone,
Okay.
it was actually easier to message on the site because they have an app for Android,
Who does?
the SA site.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're not on
But
Apple any longer, are they?
no, because of Apple's terms and conditions.
Yeah.
So interesting. Because I have an Android phone.
So when I was on an Android phone, the site was fine. That site worked great.
You just
for
use the
messaging.
app.
I just
I
used the
never
app.
even used the app. I just went directly to the website from my browser.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
When I switched over to Apple from there, lost the
Yeah, you lost the app.
app. So now that's when I got the texting number
Okay.
and have used that. So to answer the question though, I have a bit of a conversation on the site first. Okay. Hey, how's it going? What all are you looking for? Like what's some of your expectations? What's some of your boundaries? And based on that, I say, okay, great. I think this will work. Let's move over to texting if you're comfortable and figure out if we can make something work or not. Or I say, based on that, I don't think this is going to work out too well. I wish you the best of luck. Move on.
Now, how quickly do you get into arrangement terms? It's all over the board for me. Sometimes we can talk about it quickly. Sometimes it takes a while. What is your comfort zone on talking arrangement terms? And I've set up some bad terms before where I've kind of had to I got a little ahead of myself here.
Yeah. Been there, done that.
Okay.
I like to talk about it as quickly as possible because I want to know what that expectation is, because the last thing I want to do, because this actually happened to me once, the last thing I want to do is set up a date, go to the date and have dinner or lunch or whatever. And then she is expecting $1,000 just to have dinner or have lunch.
Right.
Wait, what?
Exactly.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
I am hearing more and more stories, though, of the SA is kind of becoming like the housing market.
In what sense?
The financial expectations are, I feel like, starting to go up. I'm
They've gone up. I say they've gone up 50 to 70%.
Right.
In the last year or two, just like the housing market, just like food and gas. Well, I guess that's why.
It's inflation.
Yeah.
I mean, it affects every industry
Yeah.
the same, I suppose. But I've been hearing that like the minimum now is like, to me in my head, I guess from my experience, a typical allowance for a meetup was around $350. That was kind of common practice. But now am I undercharging?
No, you're not.
I saw that little shrug. Don't play with me.
No.
Okay. We'll talk about that later. I'm just teasing. But now I hear much more like starting around the $500 range easy.
Right.
You know, it really has gone up.
So we are in a big city, but we are not West Coast or East Coast. And when I got on there 5 years ago, it seemed like a paper meet or an allowance was around anywhere from $200 to $300. In the last couple years, it seems like it's anywhere from $300 to $400. Now everybody's quoting $500, $600, $700.
I know.
Yeah.
Everybody, which, you know, I get it. Things are expensive now.
This is why I love doing this show, because I'm always learning that I need to rework a few things.
Well, I'll tell you what, I have some rental properties, and I've had some longtime renters in there who are about to get a notice of increased rents at the first of the year, because I haven't gone up on those as the market has. So I'm even behind. And, you know, I have new expenses too. Now my social life has gotten more expensive. So we're going to pawn that off on the renters, I think.
Inflation.
Inflation,
It's just
yeah.
inflation.
It's inflation.
You know, my taxes went up. The HOA dues went up. Cost of maintenance went up. So, and really.
Cost of my toys went up.
Cost of my toys went up. Yeah. So anyway. All right. Tell me any shocking, bad experiences you're going, what the fuck?
Oh, wow. Okay. So I have.
We all have those.
We have.
You
We all
can't get
have them.
away without
No.
having those.
Well,
No.
because one of the reasons that you liked the podcast was so much was you said that if you had listened to this in the beginning,
It would
it
have
would have saved you a lot
a
of.
lot. So it would save me about 12 grand.
Oh, do tell.
Yep.
So, so after the experience in Reno, right now I've put two and two together, and now I'm like a kid in a candy store. Like, this is super exciting to me. I'm like, oh, this is going to be the best thing ever. I message a girl from the site, and we're talking, going back and forth, and she actually lived at the time, well, supposedly lived in Flagstaff, Arizona. I'm like, okay, that's not too terribly far, right? It's a good distance, but it's not too terribly far. So as we're talking, she's like, yeah, and I will start off online to be comfortable. And after we get to know each other a little bit online, we can meet in person and go from there.
Red flag, red flag, red flag.
Red flag number one.
Oh, the only reason I know it's a red flag because I might have talked to the same person, but go ahead.
So we're talking. I'm like, okay, I'm excited. I'm still a kid in a candy store, right? I'm like, yay. So,
Because we're fishing out of the same pool here.
yeah. So we start going.
Small world.
Yeah.
We start talking, and I start sending her cash, right? And then
Before
we actually meet, because she's sending me pictures, she's sending me videos, she's sending
and you
me.
didn't know.
I didn't know.
You didn't know.
I was so innocent. Mm-hmm. Then it was like six months go by, right? And during that 6 months, I'm like, okay, well, if you can't come here to me, then I'll come up to where you are. And then red flag number two, every time I either went up or she was supposed to come down, something happened. Something came up. My car broke down. I got a flat tire. I got my phone got shut off, so I couldn't text you. Something always came. I got called into work, which some of those in reality might be viable reasons, but for 6 months, every single time, right? And so, not only was it like the allowance that I was sending her, but she's like, "Hey, can you help me get my car fixed? Can you pay for my cell phone bill? Can you do this?" So in the course of 6 months, I dished out 12 grand.
I'm sorry, that reaction.
That was genuine.
Oh my goodness.
And
I feel like you guys may have this particular experience in common.
Yeah, I just didn't go that far, but definitely had her sending me pictures. I don't know if it's the same girl, but it's always in a city just far away, and they always have an excuse, but they'll send you pictures and videos and, hey, can you help me out with this? And anyway,
Interesting.
I haven't lost too much online, but some smaller amounts, like, hey, can you help me with my babysitter? I'm on my way, or something like that, right? Oh, no problem. It was just smaller amounts. Come to find out, she does that to multiple men. She's making really good money.
yep.
No, I could never do that just because for me, that would be more immoral than,
And actually, it's probably some dude in his mom's basement.
oh my gosh.
You know what's funny? You know what's hilarious? So this was all taking place.
Wait, you know how to track all this stuff. You could
do.
have found out who this person was. I know you.
I did.
Oh, this is brilliant.
Dude, we're going to have to get together after the show. I have some people I need tracked.
So, but this is what's hilarious though, is the fact that she was doing all this, right? We were doing all this over Snapchat, right? Well, apparently she did not think about the fact that she had her location turned on,
Oh, this was kind of before. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Okay.
So I got into Snapchat. I figured out, hey, she popped up on Snap Maps. So she popped up on the location on the
oh
maps.
my gosh.
I'm like, oh, I got you now. I know. In Snap Maps, in case you guys don't know, Snap Maps is it's supposedly within a 1 mile radius of where the location is,
Yeah.
where they appear on the map.
Yeah. It has like a little circle around that area.
So it's within a certain radius, right? But in the radius that they popped up on, there was 2 houses.
Oh,
There was only 2. So within that radius, it was one of those 2 houses. So I go up.
was it in Flagstaff?
It was in Flagstaff.
Oh, it actually was
They
there.
were actually in Flagstaff. They were like way out in the boonies of Flagstaff, but they were in Flagstaff. So I drive down the Flagstaff because I got nothing better to do, right?
Apparently.
So I go up.
Well, I guess at $12,000.
I'm so invested in this story now.
So this is the point where I get up, and then I come to find out because I'm sitting there and I'm not like, I guess I am kind of stalking a little bit, but I'm not stalking like
You're not stalking. You were investigating,
I was
sir.
investigating. There we go.
It pisses you off.
Yeah. So I'm looking, and me and my buddy were looking and watching, who was coming in and out of the house. And
You'll have to let me know who you took with you. I think I might know.
it was no one you know.
Oh, darn.
It was
Okay.
no one you know.
Go ahead.
But come to find out that this girl that was actually like the pictures and the videos and everything were, she was actually off of the Orange and Black site. And this was actually 2 dudes in the house that were just taking that girl's pictures and videos off of the porn sites and then they're redistributing them and selling them.
Wow.
To which I did probably the most. I'm kind of proud of myself at this one, but I did probably the most responsible, but yet kind of stick a knife in you type of thing, where number one, couldn't report them to the police. Like, what am I going to tell them
I
to
know.
the police, right?
Yeah, right.
But I knocked on the door.
Oh my gosh.
I knocked.
Did.
Yeah, we went up. Me and my friend. We went up. My friend is, he's a big like bodybuilder type guy, right? So we go up. We knock on the door, and you see him. Anyone's going to intimidate. He's going to intimidate anyone. So we knock on the door, and knock on the door. The guy opens up, and I go, "Hey, whatever the username was. I just want to let you know. Don't worry about the $12,000 I sent you, because you obviously needed it more than I do." And then we both turned around and just walked away.
Really?
Yeah.
It was
Well,
2 men.
2 guys. They're
Stealing
college.
pictures.
They're college age, so they're like
Yeah, but
20, but yeah.
What a little ring they were running.
They were running a ring.
Did he say anything?
No. Didn't say a word. Just kind of stood there, and then we walked off and drove off.
Wow.
I mean, he should feel very fortunate.
Probably.
If it makes you guys feel better, it occurs on we get ripped off too.
Oh, no, I know you do.
I mean,
I've heard stories.
It happens
Yeah.
where you build up trust with someone and you come to all the agreements and everything, and then you spend time together and they just ghost you. Because we've talked about this. There's always that weird part of the transaction. Like, you don't want to be like, give me money up front or anything, just because number one, there's legality reasons sometimes to that, and it's just not a nice conversation always to have, or a pleasant one. So you kind of tend to hold off because you feel like you've already had this conversation. And then it's like, bye, see you. And you're kind of left like, excuse me. And what are you going to do? Beat them up as they
Right.
walk out the door too. Like,
But you know what, the conversation, and this comes back to the point earlier, the conversation about money and not wanting to talk about money, that is so, and in at least my opinion and my experience, that's so an American thing that we don't talk about money, that we don't want to talk about money.
interesting. I had one experience where, I don't think I've told you this yet. I had one experience where I met this very attractive man. We clicked really well. We were just going out for drinks, right? So he takes me to a fairly fancy cocktail lounge and we're having drinks and everything. It's the end of the night and he goes to pay and his card gets declined. So I pay this pretty hefty tab at the cocktail bar because what else are you going to do, right? And it just ended up being, it was just very annoying because I ended up paying this man to have drinks with him and paying for all of his drinks. And
Wait, he never offered to
No.
reimburse you?
no, he wanted to make out and
Really?
stuff. Yeah, he wanted to like make out. He wanted me to go back with him and I did not. But I messaged him a couple of times. I'm like, hey, you know, I didn't mind covering the tab at all, but if you could just at least cover your portion of the drinks. That's all
Right,
I want.
yeah.
I just want
At
your
least go halvesies.
right. Cause it was like a couple $100 bill, which is fine. If I like you, I'll buy us drinks, but that's not what this was about. So yeah, he just never, and I'm like, is this what he does? Is this like how he gets free drinks at nice places and feels like the cool guy in the club? Like that's his game. Yeah. He just high and dry. And I don't feel like it was because he was embarrassed, because he was still continually trying to, you know, engage in like sexual activity with me. So
I had one girl I messaged, and I think I was in Las Vegas at the time, and I was working in Las Vegas. I actually fell asleep. Like we set up a date and everything. Like she was gonna come over, and I fell asleep on the couch in the hotel room watching TV. And I woke up at like 3:00 in the morning, and there was like a bombardment of text messages from her. Like, I'm downstairs. They're not letting me in. They won't tell me what room you're in.
Oh, no.
I'm like, okay, I'm sorry. I apologize. I fell asleep. My bad. And I actually still sent her the allowance because
Yeah,
like,
as you
I
should
felt,
have.
yeah, I felt bad. Like, I'm like, this
I
is
agree.
ridiculous.
Right.
yeah, that was nice of you.
I would have done the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I know what it takes for them to get ready, come over.
Yeah,
There's a lot
exactly.
involved.
There's
and
a
if
lot
it's not
going on.
intentional, then you're sincerely sorry and you do want to make up for that, right? Like
absolutely.
just out of good faith.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how was she? Was she pretty upset when you contacted her? Or?
No, she was actually really nice about it.
Probably like surprised, like I don't understand what's going on. This
She
seemed-
was,
yeah,
yeah. And she's like, that's a bummer. I'm sorry that you fell asleep or whatever. And that's when I asked her, like, what's your Venmo, your Cash App, or
Right.
whatever it was, and I'll send you the allowance. And then after that, we actually got together the next day. I was like, okay, I'm going to drink some coffee so I don't fall asleep this time.
Yeah.
So we actually ended up connecting anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, I was going to say, so what would you feel like your best experience so far has been on? Do you have like one shining moment that like really stands out, or something that you feel like really changed like your view about the SA experience, or just,
Yeah, like
you know,
some
this
people that you've
lifestyle in
met that have
general?
really made an impression on you, or
Yes. Yeah. There's actually quite a few. I think I've actually been pretty fortunate in the sense where, yeah, I've had some bad experiences because we all do. But one, obviously, reconnecting with you, Angie, and just saying, hey, we actually know the same people. We've same backgrounds. We just getting to know one another. Actually,
it makes it a little more dirty,
it really
doesn't it?
It really does. Yes.
I
Yes,
mean-
it does.
oh, if you could see their faces, people.
Yes.
Man. All right, back on topic.
But back on topic, there's actually, I actually have two other girls right now that I've been seeing. One, this is what's funny. One, we've actually had such a good connection that we've actually only hooked up once. That was it. It's been like 2 years. We've only hooked up once. But this girl, I am so invested in this girl and her success that if she called me and said, hey, I need a job, like, I'll find you a job.
Right.
Like, I'll give you a job. Something. I don't know what it is about her, but she's just so like genuine in everything that she does and says. I am truly invested in her.
You know, those
succeeding.
are the ones that find a lot of success on the site. I've met a few like that too. And as a business owner or as somebody that has connections or has some financial means, you really want them to succeed.
You really do.
Yeah.
And then there's another one where along the same lines, because I traveled so much, I had some really good connections in the hotel industry. And she was actually studying to become a interior designer person that like she wanted to go through and redesign hotels and business suites and different things. So when she graduated college, I actually helped her get a job at a large hotel chain through my connections. And we're still friends and we still talk. And every once in a while she calls me up and says, hey, what do you think about this? Which is, to me, that is by far the biggest and one of the most important things in this whole sugar relationship is I want the experience with me to be so good that no matter what happens, when the sugar part ends, we're still friends.
Right.
We're still talking. We can still have a good relationship. And I'll invest into you, help you build your dreams. You help me build mine, and still go that route.
So many people are very short-sighted on the site. What can you do for me here and now? And I get it. Like we have financial pressures, things that have come up. But the ones that find the most success are people like that you just mentioned.
Yeah.
I will say that initially on the site, probably just because I was so naive about the site, sexuality, everything, I went in with this idea that that's just what people were there for on the site. So I kind of had that view. And it's definitely been changing over the last, several months, which is kind of why we did the switch up on my profile. But that's another podcast, I think.
No, because I want to know too, because I'm interested too.
Well, we only have a couple minutes
Oh, we
left,
only got a
and
couple
this is
minutes
going to
left.
be
Dig
this
in.
is going to
Okay.
be deep.
This is going to be a deep one.
Yeah, this is going to be a good one, and we're going to save that one for hopefully our next episode.
Perfect.
Talk about Angie and her new profile and the experiment that she did, because I really like it.
I changed my picture today, so you'll
Did
have
you
to
really?
take a little gander again. Yeah,
Okay.
it's a pretty good picture, I think. I don't know if the last time you viewed.
Last time
Joseph.
the last time I saw your profile was about 2 days ago.
Okay, yeah, just my profile picture has changed, but I think it's a good pick. The booty is gone.
Okay. This is not, now I would click on your profile.
I know, right? See? Go ahead, Marcus.
So, Joseph, any parting advice or words for people that are thinking of becoming, involved in the site or the lifestyle? And what do you think?
Two. Guys, I would say, or sugar daddies or sugar mamas, whatever you want to call yourself, I would say be honest, be genuine in what you're trying to do, and be real with yourself and say, what is my purpose of even being here? What am I trying to get out of this site?
It's good.
And for the babies out there, I would say, as always, use the common sense. Use your common sense, because I've heard stories where, a girl shows up to a guy's house and she goes in, he locks the door and then stands in front of the door, won't let her out until they have sex or do something. Like they're almost like she's trapped or kind of kidnapped in there. So your safety is always important. Never put yourself in a position where you think you could be hurt. Be safe, have that common sense. And then also, I would say, realize that sugar daddies and sugar mamas, they come in a variety of different ways. And again, whether it's short-term or long-term, just be realistic with what you're looking for and what you need at that moment.
Yeah, that's great advice.
I like that.
And we touch on that almost on every episode, but it's nice hearing it from somebody else other than my point of view. We interview a lot of sugar babies, and it's so nice to have somebody that's on my side of the realm or of the site talking about their experiences, because yours are even a little different than mine, and you approach it even a little bit different than mine. So I think our listeners will really enjoy our listening to this one, and join us next week. And we haven't got it set up yet, but maybe Angie will share some insights to her new profile.
I will.
We'll figure out a time and place to do that.
That'll be fun.
Yeah.
See how many new visitors I get
Yeah.
once my profile name
And
is exposed.
as Joseph did, he contacted us on our website. Go to secretsofasugardaddy.com. Let us know your stories, any subjects that you want to hear us talk about, and feedback on the show. We'd really appreciate that. And then you can always find us on Instagram, Facebook, even TikTok, YouTube. We're everywhere. So we'd love your follow and appreciate you listening to the show. Until next time, bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us. If you'd like to connect or even be on the show, we'd love to hear from you at secretsofasugardaddy.com.